Hi.
And welcome to Gabbing It Up. What's going on?
Okay, we're getting straight into personal update.
I mean, we can. What else is there to
Okay.
do, really?
True, true, true. Okay, I don't have that much going on right now. Because last time we spoke, I just had my last day of class.
Mhm.
So I have completed all my finals. I'm literally going to
Yeah.
move out on Sunday.
Iconery.
So it's just been like packing, bringing stuff to my house, doing RA stuff for like trying to like wrap up everything. So it's just been kind of boring, honestly, but I feel like I've been busy, busy but boring busy, you know?
Literally, same. Because my first line that I wrote down when I was thinking of my personal update was, why did we have this conversation yesterday? It feels like the last week has moved so fast. This was the fastest
No,
week of
yeah.
my life.
Wait, because we did sprints together too on Monday, but it felt like that was
Mhm.
literally yesterday.
No, that was like 20 minutes ago. Like, that is crazy. I don't know. I was talking about this actually with some of my clients. I think this is a universal thing. Like, March, April, May time just feels like it moves so
It be
fast.
flying.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to catch my breath, honestly. My big thing this past week has been saying no. I have
Okay.
said no to so many things. I have canceled on so many plans. I have thought that I was going to do things that the time came and I was like, I just don't want to do it. I'm just
Mm,
in the era of giving myself a lot of grace and
as you
just
should.
like being with myself. Like, I had an engagement party for our like couple friends last weekend and I just didn't go. Like, it was a whole weekend away. And Cameron went and like stayed in the Airbnb and I literally stayed in the house and I fucking baked bread and put together furniture and like read my books and it was the best weekend I've had in so long.
I love that. I do love a weekend where I do nothing. That's my favorite.
And it was like not a rotting doing nothing. It was like a almost borderline productive, but not like working
Like
productive.
hobby.
Yes, I love hobbies. I'm a girl with hobbies. I can never have too many hobbies, really.
No, same. I love a hobby.
And I've been keeping up
Um,
with my yoga
okay, period.
every
Yoga's
single morning,
tea.
7 a.m. And Cameron's gonna come with me over the weekend. So we'll see if he can handle it. I'm worried. Like, he is not flexible and he gets really frustrated with himself really easily when he can't do something. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's gonna be challenging. And that was like a challenge for me too, to like do the modification instead of the like full
Mhm.
extent of the pose. So I feel like he's going to be a little emotional and have to like work through that. But I'm excited to like see him have a little yoga journey too.
This is another thing that Cameron and I are literally the same mom because I'm not flexible and I get easily frustrated when I'm not good at something. Like if I'm not good at it, I'm
Yeah.
like, no. Like,
We're both like that. Like, he took me to one of those baseball places, like where the baseball shoots out at you and you like hit it and it's supposed to be like a fun activity. And I literally started crying because I was like, I get it. It's scary. It's coming up my face.
this reminds me of my friend and I went to Charlotte for my birthday last November, and they had like this escape room type place, but it's like different rooms. So like you are competing to see how many rooms you can do, and the rooms are different levels of difficulty. So you get a different amount of points based on the room. So you're trying to like go, 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 go for however long you pay to do as many rooms as possible. And it was
Wow.
only 2 of us, and apparently people do it in groups. So normally it's like whatever, but like we were not doing good. Like in our
Mhm.
eyes, we were not doing good. So I literally went mute. Like there was a whole room where we just were silent, mute because I was like I literally that's what I do. Like I was so mad and frustrated that I went silent. And this is gabbing it up. So you know the
Yeah.
2 people on this podcast are professional yappers, okay? So
She went
for me to just
nonverbal.
I literally was like I just was pointing. I literally was pointing. I was like because I was like, I can't."
I'm a frustrated crier, and it's
I'm
so
also a frustrated
annoying.
crier.
I feel like nobody takes me seriously as soon as I start crying. It's just like, okay, she's a dumb girl crying, but like I cannot deal with frustration. It feels like I've immediately lost all control and I just get so upset.
Yeah, me too. I just it's so annoying.
Yeah. So yoga really challenges that. We'll see how Cam does. I am interested, but
I'm
I'm
interested
excited.
too.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I have,
And I think we should try. Oh, what's up?
I was gonna say I have 2 more updates.
Oh, go for it.
So my other one I did my own lashes.
Like permanent, not
Yeah,
permanent, but like extensions?
yeah. Well, I
That's
didn't do
great.
extensions. They're like clusters, and you use the bonding agent, and you bond it to your
Yeah,
lashes.
that's crazy. How did you do that?
It's just like these little lash clusters you buy on Amazon, and then let me see if I can reach around. Okay. There's like this. Mine's kinda crusty because of whatever. So you, like, brush this onto your lashes, and then you take, like, the lash cluster, and you, like, put it at the base of the little brush so you can, like, get the product on the base, and then you just go underneath, and you, like, push it up there.
That is so scary to me.
I
I have, like,
know.
a weirdness with eyes, though.
That's my mom.
It's hard for me to even, like, take out my contacts.
Oh, yeah, my mom can't even do contacts at all.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, she could never.
I've acclimated to contacts, but yeah, sometimes lashes especially, if it gets, like, that one little uncomfortable section
Mhm.
kind of feeling, I will not think about anything else all day, and I'll have tears streaming down my face because my eyes chronically water.
Yeah, that's how it was, like, when I was applying some of them, I think I was just applying them wrong because it would
Oh,
be irritated, but then, like and I would be, like, having some watering, but then, like, when I just kept messing with it and I feel like it's not bothering me at all now. The only thing is, like, I can kinda see it a little bit, like, in my vision, just, like, a
mm.
little something, but I feel like you probably get used to it.
Yeah, I think you'll acclimate. Well, they look
I'm
really good.
Thanks. And then my last update is that I'm nervous because my boyfriend and I, even though we've been together for a while, he's busy, I'm busy. There's a lot of moving parts. So he has only ever met my mom briefly, and I've never met nobody. So tomorrow he's having a cookout, and I'm meeting at least his parents, and I think one of his sisters for sure, and then potentially the other sister. So I'm scared, and then on Sunday, when I move out, because my dad this is another update, my dad had surgery, like, 2 days ago for a hernia, he's fine,
Okay,
but he
good.
can't help me move. So, he's gonna be there, my mom's gonna be there, but they can't really, like, move nothing, so my boyfriend's coming, so he's also gonna meet both my parents, and so it's happening back to back, and originally the cookout was supposed to be on Saturday, so, my mom, she is off Thursday, Friday, so we were like, "Oh, she can't come, whatever, whatever." But now it's on Friday, and she's off on Fridays, so potentially my parents might come to the cookout too, and the parents might meet each other. So
Oh,
I'm scared all around.
that is scary.
And
Like, I'm not even trying to comfort you right now, like, I would be scared
no,
too.
and, like, his parents, they're cool, I think, like, he's cool, so I think they're cool, and, like, I've talked to them on FaceTime briefly, whatever, but his parents are also both pastors.
Oh, that's
I'm not trying to do them. It's just scary, like, extra scary
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
fine. I'm cool with it. I'm just extra scared.
I would feel the same way. I'm trying not to say what I would really say if we weren't on a podcast. Oh my god. Yeah, no. I Here's what I'll say. Here's my advice to you. Everyone on a first meeting is trying to put their best foot forward.
Mm.
So, no one is looking out for you.
They're all thinking
You
about
have to
themselves.
be Yes. You have to be
Mm.
the one to look out for you. So, you keep yourself safe and just be tracking. Be the observant girly that you are. Center yourself and just track and notice. Are there red flags here? Is there, "Oh, that comment was,
Mm,
like, kinda weird," weird," because everybody might be putting their best foot forward, but you wanna look for the little subtle things that maybe
true.
you're gonna wish that you woulda caught. I don't know, that sounds like paranoid, but
I
that
didn't
is
even
the
think about
thing.
that.
I have met a lot of parents of partners, and none of them have ever liked me, but when I first met them, I always thought that it went well. So I've learned, like, I missed a lot of essential signs just because I just wanted to be liked. So I was
Mm,
fixating on, like, myself and, like, did I put a good image of myself out? I wish that I would have focused more on I'm showing up authentically, and so they must like me because I'm a good person, and oriented more towards, like, I need to see how I actually feel about these people, not just assuming that I'm gonna
mm.
like them off the bat and worrying about if they're gonna like me.
Yeah, I'm actually kinda shy, like, I feel like people don't like, my parents, like, they're like, "Be for real," 'cause
No,
obviously I'm
you
comfortable
are.
around them, so they're like, "Yap, yap, 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 yap," like, "Yap
Yeah.
City," and I'm like when I'm in a situation and I'm like, mute,
No,
silence."
you are really shy. Even, like, when we were in person, like, talking to waiters and waitresses,
Oh,
you are so meek and
I'm
mild
like
like baby
no,
Jesus.
I'm like,
Like, you
"You, thanks."
it is like that is
No, because
the
when I be
highest
talking to
voice.
people yeah, when I be talking to people and afterwards I'd be like, "Why did I say it so quietly?" I'd be like, "Thank you." And I'm like, "Why?" Afterwards, I'm like, "Okay, Miss Quiet."
Okay, Miss Quiet. That's so funny. You
No.
are
And I
quiet.
get, like, anxious for real, like, I don't think I have social anxiety, but I be getting hot because I be anxious.
Mm.
Like,
No,
especially,
I'm an
like
anxious sweater.
no, like, especially, like, in class or something, like, on the first day of class, and they're like, "Oh, like, you gotta introduce yourself," like, on the time that it's coming up for me to talk, the whole time I'm there, like, like, sweating,
Mhm.
and I'm like, "Daijah, just chill it, calm down. You're good. This is safe."
You are good. Honestly, it's gonna go great. Just
I think it's
protect
gonna be
yourself.
fine. I think it's gonna be fine, but, like, my anxiety doesn't believe that,
So let her not believe it and just
and
see what
just live
happens.
that love. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what always happens is, like, I'll be, like, worried about something and people are like, "Deja, it's gonna be fine." And I'm like, "I know, but still." That's just who I
That's
am.
not helpful to just say, "Oh, it's gonna be fine." Like, cause you know that. You know who you
No, like,
are,
I
you know you're gonna
know.
get through, but this one part of you that's, like, upset and then anxious just needs to be that way, so let
No,
her be that way.
yeah. And I feel like it's honestly kinda good, like, I feel like it protects me. Like, even when
Yes.
I was flying to Texas, that was the first time to see you. That was the first time I flew by myself. So I was like, I'm literally like, "How? Like, how am I going to make this work?" I was like, freaking out. And then I was like, "I know it's gonna be fine, and I know I'm gonna figure it out." But at the same time, I'm anxious, like
Yeah. Anxiety is biologically protective, so
yeah, and if I
she's a good
wasn't,
girl.
then maybe I would've lost all my shit. Like, you never
That
know.
that. She was just aware. She was vigilant. If
That's
we
what I
go
feel
over
like I
into
be.
hypervigilance, that's when it could get dicey, but she's a protective part.
Yeah, like, I just be noticing everything, if I'm alone. My boyfriend, he thinks, like, I'm, like, "La-di-da-da-da," because with him, I'm like, "Oh, like, I don't gotta pay attention because he's paying
Safe.
attention."
Right.
Yeah, but, like, when I'm alone, if I'm walking every 2 seconds, I'm like, "Who behind me?" Any little
Mhm.
creak crackle, I'm like, "Oh, who's that?" And it'll be nobody, and I'm like, "Okay, but what happens if it was? Then I would've been snatched."
No, me. Every time I'm sitting with my best friend and, like, there's a noise behind me, she doesn't even let me get the chance to turn around. She'll literally be mid-sentence. She did this the other day where she was telling a story and something, like, happened behind me, and she, in the middle of her story, didn't even take a breath. She goes, "It was a tree," and then just continued on speaking.
That is
She
so
knew
funny.
she knew I was gonna turn around and be so anxious, but, like, I can't help it. I have
No,
to protect
yeah.
myself. I'm just a girl.
Yeah, I'm not even nervous about him meeting my parents because I know that they're gonna like him, but me? To be also to add context, I've never met a significant other's parents, like, ever. This is my first
Oh.
time ever. So, like, I don't have no experience, like, this is a completely new situation, so I think that makes
Mhm.
it worse, and also, I've never had a significant other meet my parents, but I'm not worried about
So,
that.
this
It's
is,
a lot
like,
of new
new.
situations.
Yeah, let yourself be anxious and just sit with her, comfort her. She deserves to be here.
Yeah, but we'll see how it goes. I'll definitely keep y'all updated.
I can't wait for next week's update. Let's move on to pop culture corner. I don't have a lot.
I don't have a lot either. I feel like it's kinda been dry.
It has been dry. There's no drama really going on. The only thing that I have is, like, kind of exciting fun, and that is
Ooh.
the announcement of the Verity movie.
What?
Did you hear about that?
No?
Amazon picked up Verity, and it's
I'm
gonna be a movie.
gagged. No, I'm really
I know.
excited. 'Cause
I'm
now I'm
so
thinking
excited.
Verity is gonna be a movie, and did you see A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is being made into, like, a movie or a
A
TV show?
show.
Like, I'm shook. Oh!
Oh,
That's a thumbs up. If y'all are watching, I just got a little thumbs up because I think I did one, like, on accident, and so the little thing picked up the thumbs up.
yeah.
M
That's why you gotta watch
my
the video version.
No, yeah. So in that way you can see all the little grins and laughs and thumbs
The little
ups.
grins and laughs. That's what you subscribe for on the Patreon is grins and laughs. And thank you so much if you do support us. If you want
Yes.
to, go visit any link in any bio of any of our social media or probably our Spotify and Apple Music pages, question mark, definitely on our YouTube.
I don't
There is a
know if you
link.
can there I don't think there's links on there because you can't really add a link like that.
We will add it in the description of this episode then.
Yes. We will do that.
So y'all can join the Patreon if you want and see the video version. Also watch us record live. That is super fun.
Mhm. So my first one is I've been trying to, like, sit back and see how the situation gonna play out, but
Oh,
there's this guy on TikTok, his name's Leo Skeppy. Have you ever heard of him?
never, not
He's like
familiar.
this white man who's like 6'5" or something, and the big gag about him, like, people think that he's funny, is because he wears only black like, he wears the same thing, like a black, what's it called? Like, wife beater?
Mhm.
Like, that's it. Like, he wears that every day.
With
Like,
what,
obviously a
jeans?
different one, like black pants, like, or something.
Okay.
But he has, like, multiple of them, but, like, that's his thing, and then he's, like, funny, whatever. So he is friends with do you know what's her name? I can't even remember her name, but he's friends with 2 influencers that are, like, very much, like, feminist, like, one of them like, they both get body shamed hella, whatever. So
Oh.
he did make he was like, "I used to be fat," and he made this whole big thing, this video. I don't know what it was in response to, but he was like, basically like, "Well, if you're fat, that's your problem, and you can't ask companies to make things accommodate to you because you're fat because like, it's fine to be fat, but, like, you did it to yourself, so you can't ask companies to make clothing for you, or if you gotta buy 2 seats on an airplane because your ass so fat, that sounds like a personal problem." Yeah, so he did that, and then people are like, "Okay, whatever." His friends were like, "Obviously, if you know I don't agree with something, then why are you asking me about it?" Because of course I don't agree. And then he, like, made, like, this kind of, like, apology. He was like, "Oh, I guess it came across wrong, whatever." But then people started looking into Leo Skeppy, and he has this podcast on his YouTube channel. It's just him, and he basically does, like it's supposed to be, like, self-improvement type stuff.
Mhm.
But then one of his podcast episodes, he literally went on this rant about how his ex, he literally wanted to murder him because of the things that he was doing to him, and he literally went on the podcast and told his entire plan about how he was like, "Oh, I felt like I had nothing because of what he did to me, so I was like, 'You know what? I don't even wanna be here anymore, but Imma make sure I ruin his life as much as possible. Imma kill him and his dog and his mom and this, and then Imma kill myself at the end." And he literally went on a whole podcast episode about this plan that he had. And he's like, the thing for me is like my life got better, whatever, whatever, and he started to leave me alone. But I know at any point I have this plan, and that comforts me. Huh?
No. No, 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 no,
Murder suicide?
yeah,
And then
no.
telling it on the internet on a self-help podcast and saying that even though you don't necessarily want to do the plan anymore, it comforts you that you know that you have this plan if your life ever goes to shit.
No.
What?
There's a certain criteria for when I have to be a mandatory reporter as a mental health clinician.
Mhm.
So, like, if someone says, I want to kill someone or I want to kill myself, I don't have to report that, obviously. That's like a very normal feeling, and it's fine to disclose that to your therapist. But if there are two criteria met, that's when I have to disclose. If there is intent, like it seems like it's not just passive, it's like active intent,
Mhm.
and a plan. This man has intent and a plan. Like, if he disclosed this to his therapist would literally have to break confidentiality because what the fuck? And he's just saying this like out loud on the internet.
No,
These are the
it's
times that
terrifying.
I get
Men?
scared for the world. Men. And okay, maybe controversial. Sorry, don't cancel me. Why do I always say all men and the gays think that they're exempt? You're not.
And I think honestly, I don't know for sure, I can double check, but I don't think Leo Skepi's straight. No, I know
No.
for a fact he's not, he's gay because his ex was a man. Well, he could be
Right.
bi, but he's in the queer
Yeah, yeah.
community.
And if you're in the queer community, you're not exempt. Like, the men still are, doesn't matter what your sexuality is. You're raised with this, it's like entitlement, I feel, that they just think they can literally say anything and get away with it. Like, women are so muzzled. We're always scanning for safety before we say what we're going to say. And even sometimes we say something totally appropriate and it feels unsafe. Like, we are second guessing
Mhm.
because we're worried all the time. We've been muzzled and silenced at Goodreads. And men just don't have that. They've been allowed to just say whatever the fuck they wanted to say their whole lives. And yeah,
Because
I've run into
who
this problem with
who
a lot of like my gay male friends where they think that like not included from the effects of male privilege and
Mhm.
misogyny and all of this, and it's simply not true because y'all be whack sometimes. Let's be totally real
No,
about it
yeah,
right
because
now.
who would think that's appropriate to put on the internet? To
A
in general,
man.
like, if I thought of that, I wouldn't tell nobody, not a single person, because I know for a fact that shit's fucked up. So I'd be like, Let me internalize that shit and keep it inside because ain't nobody else need to hear that.' So putting it on the internet?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I have a thought and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a sociopath. And then I go to my therapist and I'm like, I think I'm a sociopath. And she's like, Haley, this thought is actually very normal. And I'm like, well, thank God I have you because I literally would tell no one else that I had this thought.
No, yeah,
He
because
needs to do some of that. He needs to muzzle himself just a little bit or maybe get a therapist because wow.
and the
Oh
fat
my God.
phobia went crazy.
That, yeah, we didn't even touch on that. Like, I cannot. Like, I'm not even in a community where I feel like I deal with fat phobia, but just the 50 pounds that I've gained because of PCOS, it's like, well, girly, if you just wanted to lose it, like you can lose it. It's like, no, I literally can't actually. My body is
Mm.
actively working against me and they won't fucking prescribe me Ozempic, so I'm gonna jump off a bridge.
No, literally, like, a lot of people cannot control their body weight at all, like, no matter how much you exercise, no matter how much of a calorie deficit you in, a lot of people can't lose weight. So saying
Yeah.
that is horrific, especially like, okay, he was big and he lost weight. That's a privilege in itself that
Mhm.
you were able to do that.
And just because maybe you had like a propensity for eating chips and that's why you were big, like that's not why everyone is big. Maybe that was just
No,
your big reason, but maybe
some
other
people
people have
just
other
built
big
like that.
reasons.
'Cause he
Yeah.
was making the same thing, the saying, like, 'cause he's, like, 6'5" or something. He was like, "Oh, I have a size, like, 15 shoe like, foot." And he was like, I can't make or be mad at brands who don't make my size shoe. Like, be for real." And they
It's just
should.
insane.
Honestly,
Right,
they should,
right.
because you can't control how big your foot is. If you got a big ass
Yeah,
foot, like, what? You didn't ask for
yeah. Oh, what a
that?
guy. I'm glad I don't know who the fuck he is.
No, yeah. And then the other thing I've been seeing recently, have you seen about the veneer techs?
What are you talking about?
The veneer technicians.
I have no idea what that is.
So obviously you know veneers.
Yeah, yeah.
And veneers are put on by dentists
Okay, yeah.
because you have to have a full knowledge of dentistry, because most people who want veneers have issues with their teeth already, causing them to get veneers. So obviously you need to clean them before you put the shit on. You need to
Yeah.
do certain steps. Now there are whole programs and things coming out that are probably illegal. I can't say definitively because I don't know the law like that, about becoming a veneer tech, like a
Oh,
lash tech or a
no.
nail tech, but a
Oh,
veneer
no.
tech.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yes. Literally, like, to be a nail tech or a lash tech, but with veneers.
Uh-uh. I would never let a tech of any sort near my pearly whites. You only get the one set.
No, yeah. And, like, there's been videos on the internet and people are talking about it, and, like, you can see them, like, putting, like, the shit, like, I guess the adhesive, like, right over, like, plaque, like, visible plaque, like, just, like, not cleaning the teeth at all, like, nothing.
So they're gonna rot from the inside.
Yes!
Holy shit. I mean, I've seen some questionable veneers put on by real life dentists. Like even my friend she has one veneer because she just had a tooth that she didn't like the shape of it.
Yeah.
So she just got one veneer over it and she had to go through 3 rounds with her dentist before they put in one that she liked and approved and they put like the final thing on and then it
Mhm.
fell out and they had to put it on again. Like and that was with a dentist. So I
So
can't
imagine
imagine the
a
things you would go
veneer
through with the
tech? How long even is dentistry? Like, the
like dentist
school?
school. Oh, that's a long time. That's
I'm
got to be
looking
a
it up.
long time because like just hygienist school takes a long time. Um, one of my mutuals went to dental school
Okay,
and
it's an additional 4 years. So people
yeah.
are doing these things that take, like, 6 months? These little
Mm-mm,
courses or whatever to
mm-mm,
become a veneer
mm-mm.
tech? When you literally go to undergraduate degree, and then you go to dentistry school for 4 years, and you get it's a doctorate in dentistry to become a dentist,
Mhm.
and they're going to a program? I'm s it's been sending
Mm,
me.
no, that's like there are these fake master's programs that some schools will pay to send teachers to because there are some teaching positions or like administrative positions in
Mhm,
education that you have to have a master's for, but they have like these little cheat the system fake master's programs that
mm.
they'll pay to send teachers to so they don't have to like take time off work and like actually do a master's program and it literally takes like a month and then people
No.
are running around being like, "Yeah, so I have my master's degree." And I was around one of these people who did this, and I got my master's. It took me fucking years. It was during COVID. I wanted to kill myself, not a joke, and pull my hair out every single fucking day. And I was with this girl talking about grad school, and she's like, "Yeah, I totally get it." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh, no.
that's crazy to say to me right now, actually, because you went online for a month. So that's like actually wild. And the fact that I know these veneer techs are going to be out here being like, being a dental professional is so hard.
But, like, this is scary to me because, like, veneer techs, what's next? BBL tech?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I cannot imagine.
Because BBLs are, like, one of the most dangerous surgeries.
Yeah. And also, wait, I just found out about the BBL smell.
What is a BBL smell?
Oh my God, you haven't heard of this. So I saw this one TikTok that led me down a rabbit hole, and it was some straight man, and I thought it was gonna make me mad, and then it just actually made me cringe and laugh because this guy was like, "You know a girl has a BBL if she got that smell to her." And I was like, "Is this just misogyny in the works here?" No. Like the little suggested search was BBL smell. And there were literally like health professionals, like surgical assistants being like, "Hey girls, like if you just got your BBL, like this is how to prevent the smell, blah, 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 blah." And it's literally just like people not understanding basic hygiene or like not understanding how like when your anatomy changes, you gotta like wipe a little more.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
all just smell like shit.
No, I'm sorry, like, my ass is kinda like, it's a little out there, and you really gotta dig in there, like, I'm not gonna lie. But
And these girls don't realize that there's a shift that happens, and they just be walking around smelly.
well, I'm 90% sure my nail tech got a BBL, so we'll see if she has a smell.
No,
She either got
give us a
liposuction
update.
or a BBL because you know how there's, like, those shaping people that be, like, cupping you after to shape you? She's been posting about that, and then tell me why. I was like, "Maybe she just got that lipo or something, though." Tell
Mhm.
me why she posted a video today of her laying, like, on her stomach in a car and be like, "This is how I get around now." Like, being driven by somebody else, like, obviously, she can't sit on her ass probably because she got a BBL. I'm not judging, I'm just saying. So, we'll see if
That's
she got the
just so
smell.
funny.
She literally took a over
Okay.
a month off of work. That's why my nails are press-ons.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, no. My nail tech cannot take a month off. I would be struggling.
No, I'm fighting with these fucking press-ons because they keep popping off every 2 seconds.
There's no good press-ons, I swear to God. But on the topic of BBLs, this is some of my
What a
favorite
sentence.
niche my favorite niche James Charles lore. That he got exposed for getting his BBL because he posted a screen recording of like buying a makeup product in a YouTube video. And in his suggested on the like sidebar on his Amazon search, there was like buy it again. You know that section where it's like buy it again.
Oh.
And it suggests things you've already bought. And it was adult diapers. People were like, why would James Charles be buying multiple packs of adult diapers? And someone was like, well, if you have a BBL, like the recovery, you have to have adult diapers.
That's why they got the smell.
Yeah. And that's how he literally got exposed. Like, someone could have just edited that out.
They really don't be paying no attention, like,
Mm-mm. He has an editor. I know his editor got fired.
no, for real. That's really funny.
Oh,
That's all my pop culture.
same. Shall we move on to Squish of the Week?
I actually forgot mine, so let me
I'll
grab it
do
really quick.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go get your girl, and I'll do my little intro. I have a repeat squish this week. I just felt like she needed to be featured again. This is honestly like my most used. That doesn't sound
Mm.
right. most
Most
loved.
loved?
Yeah, yeah. Most loved squish, and that's Penelope, my skunk. I don't know.
Oh,
There's
I love
something
that
about
one.
her. Her little eyelashes, her little pink accents. I just love Miss Penelope, so she's here with
Me
me
and
today.
me and Penelope are twinning with the lashes now. My squish, I can't remember if I featured the squish before, but I took most of my Squishmallows home, so we are have
Oh
limited
yeah.
options. This one, I specifically kept because I was like, "I don't think I've shown this one." This one's name is Elle. It's a little purple penguin.
Oh, she's so cute. I
Yeah,
love
I
the
love her little
expression on her.
eyes.
Yeah. I love that one. I've never seen one like that.
Yes, and it says lights, camera, action, looking for Elle. She is the creative eye of the friend group. Elle loves to direct music videos, short films, and video tutorials with her favorite Mallow casting crew.
I literally love her so much.
Yeah, I know she's so cute.
Moving on to our lore nuggets this week. Mine was inspired by my weekend alone.
Okay.
I realized something essential about myself. Anytime I was like checking in with myself, wondering like, what do I want to do right now? What would be the most relaxing thing to do right now? It was cooking. I rely so heavily on cooking. Like, cooking is my
Mhm.
therapy outside of therapy. and I didn't even realize I cook at
I
least
knew.
twice a day. I know, like, it feels like something that's like I stay cooking, like, people know that about me,
No,
but I
yeah.
didn't realize it about myself. So, I guess I'm like a chef. I also stay baking. I knew that I stress baked, but I didn't know the cooking. It's like my routine at the end of the day. I always make a meal, usually from scratch. So, if you didn't know about me,
That's
that I'm a little
crazy.
chef girl and I'm a little Remy, well, now you know.
That's about to be me in a second because of course, I'm going to a cookout, and you
Mhm.
can't show up to the cookout empty-handed. So,
No.
me about to be in this kitchen.
What are you gonna make?
So I made this pasta. It was like called like a creamy garlic pasta, and it has like tomatoes and spinach and
Ooh, yum.
cream and cheese, and it's good, and chicken. And I made it for my boyfriend. And I left the leftovers with him because he always be desperate for food. He's like, "Please cook anything so I have meals." And so he gave some to his family, and apparently they loved it. That's what he said. He used loved. So he was like,
Oh,
"Make
good.
that again." And I'm making a whole like, like the tin
Mhm.
pans? Like I'm making a
Yes.
whole pan because um I'm trying to use up all my frozen chicken from my freezer
Ah,
because I'm about to leave.
yeah.
So there's a lot. So,
Good plan.
yep. My lore nugget is not that interesting. I mean, it's kinda interesting, but there's not much to it because I actually don't remember it.
Oh, no.
I, unfortunately, went to the Bahamas, Hawaii, and the Dominican Republic before I can remember. My parents did that to me. They took me, like, when I was, like, 2, like, to all these places, like, 1 or 2,
Oh, as a
to
babe.
yeah, as a little baby, and there's pictures of me with dolphins, there's pictures of me on a volcano. Like, how cool. Would've been nice to remember.
That is
Yeah.
wild.
And the only thing I do have of evidence besides these pictures is I actually have a little spot on my foot that's dark and it's like speckled. Like you would think it's like a birthmark or something. And it's actually because my mom in one of these places, I can't remember which, had pizza and the pizza was so hot that the cheese dripped off of it onto my foot and scalded me.
Not the
Yeah.
pizza scalding at the
Yeah.
age of 2. That is living on your body forever.
No, I literally have had it, like, like, get burns right here, like, when I used to flat iron my hair, I had a flat iron fall like this, like, on my arm, and
No.
I had the scar there for years, I thought it was never gonna go away. It went away, and that bitch hurt, okay? So I
Yeah.
can't imagine how hot and how much this would have hurt for me to still have that mark to this day, 20 years later?
Mm-mm. That was on baby skin, like, that was new skin, like, that skin
Yeah,
was new to the world. Oh my god, a
and she
souvenir?
injured me. That's what my
Accidentally.
mom did.
Also, at least they brought you. Like, I
No, yeah.
have a lot of children that I know of that they're, like, older. They're, like, 16, 17, 18, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, my parents are on vacation." I'm like, "If my parents went somewhere and didn't bring me
No,
that
yeah, I'd be
I
so
that
mad.
I thought was fun," like, it's different when my dad goes to a casino. I'm like, "I don't wanna go, actually."
Or, like, if it's
So
like
he's
an
allowed to go
anniversary
on his own.
trip or something.
Right, but y'all are just what? Going to Spain and leaving me behind? Uh-uh.
No, absolutely not. No. Yeah, good thing they did take me, but they were like, "Because you were free everywhere, so we didn't really care." And I was an angel child, like, literally the best child you could have, that was me. And now
I'm
my parents are like,
surprised they
"What
were.
happened?" That's what
You
they'd
were
be
an
like.
angel.
I
That's what happened.
was. Like, on the plane ride to Hawaii, tell me why I slept the whole way except the way, like, going up into the air and going down. I literally slept the
Yep.
entire flight. Just knocked.
Unsurprising.
I do be sleeping. I slumber.
I'm
I do
sorry.
slumber. I do. And I used to not talk. Like, when I was, like, a kid, I used to be silent. Like, I used to not cry as a baby, nothing.
See, okay. Wait,
So what happened
wait.
for real? I went from not
No, no,
crying
no,
to a
no.
crybaby? Don't make no sense.
This makes sense, actually. This does make a lot of sense because you were saying earlier, like, when you get stressed, when you get anxious, you go nonverbal.
I do.
You
I
go,
revert
like, baby
back.
mode. I had colic as a child, so I was chronically yapping and crying down, and when I have any kind of dysregulated state, immediately tears.
Yeah, it is making sense, we revert.
The inner child actually jumps.
She does.
And on that note, let's get into the main topic today.
Currently reading?
Oh my god, this is the second week in a fucking row, bro. I just don't wanna talk about books for real.
Well, that does not go with our topic very well.
Oh god. What are you currently reading? I have to remember.
I'm currently reading A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. It's actually a young adult book about it's marketed as like black girls as mermaids, but they're really sirens, and it's more about black girls that happen to be sirens than black girls
Oh,
that are sirens, if that makes sense.
got it.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm reading it because I pulled it from my TBR jar. So, and I'm filming a vlog right now because I said that if I don't read the books I pull from my TBR jar, I have to unhaul them at the end of the year. And this is the fifth month and I've read one.
Oh my
So
god.
I'm doing a TBR jar picks my my books and reading the 4 books that I haven't read.
I
So
like that. That's fun. Well, I'm reading Gray After Dark by Noelle W. Ely. She is a just like a little quick, fluffy thriller author on KU. Like her entire backlist is on Kindle Unlimited, and I've been obsessed with all of her books. Gray After
Ooh.
Dark is giving brother.
Ooh.
It's like the first quarter, I was not sold. I was like, why are we just following this girl running around the woods? But then once this bitch got kidnapped, I'm fucking in. She's like living with this weirdo family, and then the like son is like, you're gonna be my wife, but I gotta tame you first. And it's
The
just
accent is
freaky.
killing me. One thing about you, you do an accent.
I do. I've been doing that since I was a child.
No,
My
yeah.
mother thought I was gonna be an impressionist when I grew up
Oh.
because I would always be doing impressions of things.
No,
Like,
yeah, that makes sense because every time you talk, even on your stories, you do a little voice. Like somewhere, somehow, if it's not you coming out, it's a voice. Like if you're describing anybody else, there's a voice. If you're even like describing your inner monologue, there's a voice. Like there's always a voice.
well, that's how I hear this man in my head. Like, very like,
I don't think I
very
really
like,
hear
yeah.
accents. Like I don't hear accents when I read.
Oh, I hear
Mm-mm.
like in character voices. Maybe it's the musical theater jumping out, but I
No.
hear this man being like, "You better get in the corner, girl." Like, oh, I'm
I
scared.
I feel like everything in my head is narrated in the same voice, and I can't describe the voice at all because it's, like, in my head, like, I can't describe it, but everything's just, like, the same. Maybe that's
Hmm.
why I love audiobooks so much. Moving into our topic.
That today's topic is books in different formats. Talking about ebooks, talking about audiobooks, talking about physical books. What do we prefer? What are the best ones in each category? We are going to tell you right now. So let's just jump in with what is your preferred book format? And are there certain times when you would choose one over the other?
Okay, right now for me well, I've always been an audiobook girl. I remember literally
Real.
packing up my room in middle school about to move, listening to my audiobook. So I've been listening to audiobooks. Oh my god! Because I was thinking about this. This is my 3rd year of college, and I went through 4 years of high school. So that was middle school, that was 7 years ago. That's really crazy to me, that's baffling, that's a long time. I've been listening to audiobooks for 7 years. Okay, kinda crazy. No, when I just think about time now, like, it's weird. Like, I have 1 year of college left. I literally just got here.
I actually just dissociated for a second.
I thought
I
you
don't
would.
know if you noticed. Yeah, because you said that, like, I was in middle school 7 years ago, and my brain literally went, "I've been with Cameron for over 7 years." So, like, when we started dating, there's no way you were in fucking middle school.
I was, like, leaving middle school.
Oh my god.
But that's just really
Wow.
strange, like, time is really weird because you knew me or knew of me at least when I was still in high school, and now I'm almost
Yeah.
into college? Isn't that weird?
No, I was thinking the other day because I was telling someone was like, "Oh, who do you host your podcast with? Blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Oh, my friend daijah, da, 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 she's in college, da, da, da." And they're like, "Wait, when did you all meet? Like, you were just casually friends with a minor?"
I think I was 18 when we became friends.
That, but also like COVID was a weird time. Like, it
No,
was
yeah,
just
because it was actually, I think I was 17 when I started my channel. By the time that we met, I was probably 18.
thank God.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, back to the topic. I've been
That.
listening to audiobooks for a minute, and I love audiobooks because I love to multitask. I love to just be consuming my story while I'm just doing my little walk or whatever. Even though actually I do not like to listen to audiobooks while I like exercise, like at the gym or
Oh.
stuff, because I feel like I'm not being stimulated enough. Like I need to see
Um,
something going on. Like I need it, or I need blasting music to distract me from the pain that I'm in
oh no.
when I be doing cardio, but when I'm, like, out and about on my walks, like, outside, I'm, like, stimulated by the environment with my eyes, like,
Mm.
moving. So I love an audiobook, but ebooks right now are eating because of the stand that I have with the clicker. I
Oh.
literally have been downloading everything as ebooks, like, I have the physical book, I have the audiobook, I'm still getting the ebook.
Oh my god.
I'm
That's
getting all
so funny.
3.
I mean, for me, overall, I would always choose a physical book.
Mhm.
I love the ritual of turning the pages and having my bookmark and, like, feeling the size of the chunk to get to the next chapter and, like, seeing one side get lower and the other side get bigger. Like, I love the physical sensation of having a book in my hand. And I think that, like, comes from childhood and, like, the nostalgia of it. But if I'm reading in water or outside, like at the park, on
Love.
my balcony, I love my Kindle. For the
Mhm.
pool, for the bath, like I love an ebook in a precarious situation where you wouldn't want to be holding both sides of a book and have pages that can get wet and da da da. For
Yeah.
the gym, and for, like, little busy tasks, like cooking, cleaning, da da da, I love an audiobook. Honestly,
Mhm.
for a while there, it got to the point where if I was cooking, cleaning, or exercising and I didn't have an audiobook, I was like, "Well, what's missing here? Why am I anxious? I need my comfort of an audiobook."
No, yeah. I need some sort of yapping going on, like a podcast, YouTube video, show, audiobook. I need something. But I was gonna bring this up and I didn't
Mm,
know where to put it. I think that we should make a motion that every time you buy a physical book, you should have like a little thing on the inside that lets you get the free ebook version of it.
yes.
Not the
Yes.
audiobook, because audiobooks are a lot to produce, whatever. But an
Mhm.
ebook, whatever.
Girl, it's just a
Because
file. It's literally
because
just a file.
because I will admit on the internet, because I'm not scared, that I do be using websites to get ebooks for free. I do, because if I already have the physical book and I bought the audiobook, I'm not paying for the ebook. I'm not.
Mm-mm.
That's you already got my coin.
Yeah.
So I think that if you buy a physical book, you should get an ebook. And if you go buy the audiobook, I feel like you should still get the ebook too. Honestly.
I actually really agree with that. I feel like the margins on books are so massive. Like, the author already got their money for the one copy. You should be able to get the other copy, at least for a discount. And here's the
Something.
thing, I feel like the major retailer for ebooks is the Kindle store, which
It
is
is.
fucking Amazon.
Amazon.
Like, don't feel bad for torrenting your ebooks and not supporting Amazon, which kind of like leads us into our next question here, which is where do we source our audiobooks and
Mhm.
ebooks from? Because everyone knows kind of where to buy books in their area, but you might not know where to get audio and ebooks. Obviously, the Kindle store, Audible, I feel like is the most widely accessible, unfortunately, even though Amazon
Yeah.
is a shitty company. I do tend to get ebooks from the Kindle store, but if you're a reviewer, there are other better resources for you, like
There are.
NetGalley. I get a
Yeah.
ton of my ebooks from NetGalley, which, if you don't know, is a site where you can apply to read ARCs. And you don't need any bookish social media to do that. You can just be a Goodreads reviewer or a
Yeah.
Story Granola reviewer.
And ARCs are advanced reader copies if you're not a reader.
That. Yeah, that too.
I feel like ebooks are actually a lot harder to source, especially if you
Mhm.
have a Kindle, because if you're getting it from some of the other sources that I want to talk about for audiobooks, you have to read them on your phone. Like you can't get them
Yeah,
on your Kindle. So I feel like it is a lot harder. Like the only two options really are like the Kindle store buying it directly from the author's website, which not every author has websites. It's mostly like indie authors who are often on
yeah,
Kindle Unlimited anyways,
right.
which we will talk about.
Mhm,
So I feel like it's like hard in the neck alley. So if you're looking for ebooks and a lot of us are broke, I just want to say there is a little website called libgen.rs.
mm.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's honestly a really good place to get textbooks as well if
And
you're
we're
a
just saying
student.
that that exists.
I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying that it exists, just like how my professors do.
Right, allegedly, that is a website that exists, so do with that what you
Yes.
will.
But there is Kindle Unlimited connected to the Kindle store as well, which is a service. Do you know how much it costs now? I just be paying.
$10 a month, but you can hack the system of Kindle Unlimited. If you leave for a
Oh,
month, they will immediately send you an email that's like, "Can you wanna come back, and can you join again? And then we'll just give you 3 free months."
yeah, I feel like there's always a deal for Kindle Unlimited, like get 3 months for 99 cents or something like that. They do that for Audible too. Um, but Kindle Unlimited is like basically it's like a subscription service
Yeah.
for ebooks. So you could check out 20 at a time and you can return them and then just check out more. So you could read as many as you want in a month. If you read 100 books in a month, you could read them all in Kindle Unlimited. Um, unlike some like library restrictions. And
Mhm.
there's like a lot of indie books on there. I feel like a lot of romance and thrillers are really popular on Kindle
Yes.
Unlimited.
A lot of indie horror, indie thrillers, indie
Indie
romance, like,
romance.
that's a great source. Also mentioning the library, my
Yes, of
favorite
course.
source of ebooks and audiobooks is the Libby app.
Libby.
She is the girl. You can send your Libby ebooks to your Kindle, which I
You
love
can?
doing. Yes, you can. You just have to
Okay.
log in to your, like, Kindle, like, put the, like, forwarding email
Mm.
in your Libby account, and it will send it to your Kindle.
Yeah, I
So
never tried it with Libby, but Hoopla is another library app that not all libraries have. Most libraries have Libby. I've never seen one not have Libby. Hoopla is a little different, and you
Mhm.
cannot send those ebooks to your Kindle, as far as
Yeah.
I'm aware. Um, but Libby is more like traditional, like you check books out. There's wait sometimes, like that.
Mhm.
Hoopla is like kind of more like Kindle Unlimited, where you get a certain limit per month though, and you just check things out, return things as you read them. But there's normally a limit.
And there's no wait for me ever on Hoopla. I've
No,
never
there's
seen wait,
no waits on Hoopla. It's
which is
literally
so
like
great.
it's literally like going on Netflix for books.
Yeah. And they have movies on there, which
They
I
do, and music.
love, and music. And I've noticed Hoopla is very diverse. Like, I get a lot of,
Mhm.
like, good diverse recommendations from just, like, the Hoopla homepage, which is pretty
Yes.
impressive.
And I feel like they be having new releases on there
Yeah,
because every single time I go, like, the day of for a new popular release on Libby, and there's
mhm,
already, like, a 3-month wait longer, like,
yeah,
300 people in line. I'm like, "This book just dropped. Like, what you
yeah.
talking about? It just dropped." But I feel like Hoopla has them sometimes, doesn't have it other times, but I feel like Hoopla I like Hoopla. I feel like I use Hoopla a lot.
I use Libby more for ebooks and
Mhm.
Hoopla more for audiobooks.
Mm,
But it's good for both. But my favorite place to get audiobooks is Libro FM. Like, they
mhm.
just produce really great audiobooks, usually with the full cast. I mean, there are a few that have just one narrator, but I feel like there's usually at least 2 or 3. Um, Libro FM is, like, the same as Audible. I think it's, like, 15 or
Yeah.
17 or whatever a month, or you can just buy the individual audiobook, which is kind of expensive, but I love Libro, and the cool thing about Libro is you're paying a little bit of a premium, but you can choose an indie bookstore in your area to support, so the proceeds of whatever you're paying go to
Mhm.
specifically that bookstore.
And it actually does not have to be in your area. It could be literally any bookstore that they're registered with.
Yeah, I just chose a local one because I like
Mhm.
it.
And then
Uh, what's
another
your
place
last
that
one?
I really like is I know you hate to hear me say it,
Oh god,
Everand.
no. Uh-uh.
Everand, I like Everand now. I used to have a lot of problems with it. It used to be called Scribd,
It's
and
Glitch City.
not for me.
Ugh.
It don't be glitching for me, but they used to have some issues that they've resolved. Like most places, like I think most like Libby and Hoopla, you can go up to 3 times speed with audiobooks. I know on Libro and on Audible, you can go up to 3.5, and Everand/Grib used to only go up to, like, 2 times for iPhones only. On Android and browser, it went up to 3 times. So it goes up to 3 times speed now, and that one literally is like Netflix, but for books, because you do pay a subscription every month, and they don't have every book in the entire world, but it's like you can, like, use whatever you want and, like, read whatever you want. They have ebooks, they have audiobooks, but the caveat with Everant is they say it's, like, unlimited and you're paying this subscription, but sometimes if you're reading a lot of popular things back to back, they will cap you specifically for audiobooks, and that is annoying, but Everend I feel like is still, like, a good resource. Like, I personally like it because I'm such a big audiobook person that, like, even if I own
Mhm.
a physical book, I want the ebook. So I want to have as many different places as possible to be able to get my audiobooks, so I like having Libby, Hoopla, Everand, and then Audible as my very last resource. I do use Libro
Mhm.
FM, and they do have, like, ARC program similar to NetGalley
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you are, like, a reviewer, but, Audible has a lot of Audible, like, exclusives or originals, which is, like, why it's, like, my very last backup. Like, if nowhere else has the audiobook, Audible's gonna have it.
Right. That's how I use it too. And the ALC program on Libro is really great. You just need 1,000 followers on any platform to get approved, and it's auto
Mhm.
approval.
It's amazing.
You can get
And
10 early release audiobooks every month.
and it still, I think, supports the local businesses,
Yes.
like, it's still attached to it.
Yeah. My last one is if you have Spotify Premium, you
Oh, yeah.
get a certain amount of hours of audiobooks every single month. So sometimes it's not enough for a full book, but I try to like listen to those at the cusp of the month. So like it'll be the end of the month or the beginning of the month and I'll be listening so I can make sure that I finish it and have like 2 months worth of hours for it. But I really like it. I feel like it's so convenient, like it'll automatically connect to my car and start playing if I'm driving. So I always forgot about it for the longest time, but I've been utilizing the audiobooks on Spotify a lot more.
Yeah, I have actually never used it because I could not figure it out, but I know for a fact that I do have premium, so Imma try and figure it out. But my question is, I feel like I've heard someone answer this before, but I can't remember if I know, like, people get, like, 10 hours or whatever. Is it 10 hours of you listening or 10 hours of, like, time of the audiobook? Like, if you speed it up, is it, like, 10 audiobook hours? So if it's sped up, or is it 10 hours of you actually listening?
I have not ever been cut off in I think the last one that I listened to on there was 10 hours and 59 minutes, and I listened to it in a day, and I never got
Mm.
cut off. So I
Yeah,
think
that's the
it's
only thing.
listening.
Okay. That's the only thing that I've been curious about is, like, if speeding it up plays a factor or not.
I think it does. So,
Okay, cool.
sorry if you listen at a slower speed, which I usually will listen at like 1.75 or 2,
Mhm.
and some people consider that slow.
I don't think
So,
that's slow. I just listen faster.
I get clowned on for the 1.75, but that's like my most comfortable audiobook speed.
Mhm.
Speaking of audio, threw this question in here because there's a lot of controversy, not necessarily controversy that we agree with, but there are conversations about, is listening to an audiobook considered reading?
No, yes, like, this happens to me all the time, like, even I feel
In the
like
comments.
specifically with men, I'm not gonna hold you, no, even in real life, like, my other, like, RA friends, I was hanging out with a couple of them one time, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I've read this amount of books this year," and they're like, "Oh my god, like, how do you do that?" And I was like, "Oh, I listen to a lot of audiobooks," and they were like, "Ugh, like, you didn't actually read them, though," and I was like, "I know you fucking play with me right now."
That debate to me is so weird. Like, it's just a weird concept that you can take in the exact same story
Story.
as if you would have sat down and read it. And for me, because I listen at 1.75 most of the time, it takes me longer to listen to an audiobook than it does to sit down and read. I'm a super fast reader with my eyeballs. So, audiobooks actually take me more time.
And it's obviously the biggest argument, like, that audiobooks is reading is because that it's ableist, like,
Right.
no questions asked, because what happens if someone has a disability and they can't physically read the books? Or even people who are, like, neurodivergent, like,
Mhm.
even people with just different learning styles, someone may visually learn better and someone may auditorily learn better. It's just different ways that humans consume the same thing. I don't know why people make a big fuss, especially people like those RAs, they don't even be reading. So
Right.
okay, well, at least I consume the story, you over there mindlessly playing your first person shooter game.
Ooh,
Mm.
eat them up. I just think the comments on every booktube video ever that are like, "She didn't even read it, she listened to the audiobook," is crazy because you
No,
still
yeah.
know the story and you still have a valid review, so
No,
that's just wild to
this
me.
happened to me for real because I was on a live show last year with Kayla from Books and Lala and Gabby from Gabby Reads. We read I can't remember the fucking title, to be honest with you. It was
Twisted
some
Love
boring ass
Story?
book. Huh?
Twisted Love Story?
Yeah, A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing, and we all thought it was shit, and, like, obviously, I'm a little jokester, I don't think I'm mean, but I'm a hater first and foremost. So I
Mhm.
was like, honestly, like, I could write a better story than this, like, just, like, even, like, the idea, the concept of where the story went, I was like, it was boring, like, I literally was like, I wanted somebody to basically, like, kill somebody like, the other person's mom in revenge, and then cremate them, and then feed them their ashes, like, I wanted something crazy out the box, like, twisty, like, I wanted something crazy, and then someone in the comments was like Gabby sent it to me because it was on her channel, I think they commented, and they were like, "Oh, well, how could she say that she can even write a better book than Samantha Downing because she just listens to audiobooks?" I was like, "What does that have to do with writing?" First of all, and
That is
obviously it was a joke,
wild.
but, like, it's too much.
People get way too married to this ableist concept. Long story short, yes, of
It's
fucking course,
pretentious. It's pretentious,
audiobooks are reading, and if you think that it's not, you're pretentious and weird.
and
Like,
I don't think you should even be listening to our podcast, to be
yeah,
honest.
honestly, we're fine, with you
No.
losing a
But
fan.
then,
You
I'm
don't
just
like audio.
I do wanna say though, if you're listening to the podcast, you're not really getting the full experience because you're not seeing our faces,
Mhm.
so I think because you don't think reading is really reading if it's an audiobook, I think that you should subscribe to our Patreon so you can get the full experience. Like, I'm so dead ass.
That was the best plug I've ever Oh my god, I'm leaving our, like, laughing in because that was just too iconic. And there has been a rise of audiobook listening, I feel like recently. And I don't think this is
No,
just
yeah.
on BookTube. Like the girlies, the general girly girl pops, girly
No,
girl
yeah.
pops. Sure. They will be listening
Uh-huh,
to audiobooks.
that's how my mom primarily consumes her books, through audio. She
Sweet.
very rarely reads a physical book. She loves an audiobook, but I feel like obviously we talked about accessibility, it makes it more accessible for
Mhm.
everybody, and I feel like I was thinking about it, and it's even, like, diversifying a lot of things
Mhm.
because, like, now there are audiobooks coming out that are just audio, like, there's no physical book, like,
Yeah.
one of our own by Lucinda Berry. There's no
Yes.
physical book, it's just audio. I think it's really cool.
I do too. I love the rise of audiobooks. I feel like in the society that we live in, it's not conducive to reading anymore. Like there's
Yeah, you're right.
a reason why reading has not been as popular in the 2010s and on as it was, back in the day, because we live in a busy, fast-paced urban world. And I think audiobooks are just the answer to that. Like it's a convenient way to take in the same story. If you're a commuter, if you spend a lot of time in the car, if you work in a kitchen, like you're one of your patrons who works in a
Yeah.
kitchen and she will listen to audiobooks all day long while she's working. Like I just think it's a really convenient way to consume literature. And that's kind of what I credit to the rise of audiobooks, but I definitely think it's a
Yeah.
good thing.
And I think it's, like, cool because, like, for me, as I said, I don't be hearing voices or nothing like that, so audiobooks creates, like, a completely new, different experience, and a lot of them have different sound effects that people put in them or, like, full
Mhm.
cast, and, like, I feel like it creates an experience that reading a physical book just can't always imitate.
Yes, totally agree. So we will now get into our favorite audiobooks. I have like a top 3 specific books, but I
Mm.
also have like general categories that I would recommend of like types of books or certain authors that you should listen to on
Okay,
audio
I was
over the physical.
I was going to ask you how many recommendations you had because I made a long list. I plan on making a video on my
Oh,
channel about it. I think it's like 15 long. So like I was like, I'm gonna make a whole video on my channel about my favorite audiobooks, but I'm not gonna spill all
slay.
them here because you're gonna have to watch the video when it comes
Oh,
out.
slay. Tease it away. Well, I'll give my like general categories and top 3, and then you can just get into that list.
Okay,
Um,
period.
my author recommendations, I feel like I don't know how closely authors are involved with the productions of their audiobooks, but I do see a level of consistency where, like, if an author has a really good quality audiobook once, probably their whole backlist, like, it's a theme that they just have really good
Mm,
audiobooks, really, like, well done. So, Taylor Jenkins Reid audiobooks are
yeah,
phenomenal every single time, especially Daisy Jones and the Six. That's my
I was
favorite
gonna
of
recommend that
hers.
one.
Yeah, you can hear the music. It's just a great experience. If you like thrillers, I recommend listening to Megan Golden books on audio. A
I
lot
was
of her
gonna
books
recommend that
have,
one too.
yeah, podcast elements. They're really, really well done. And the narrators are really good voice actors, as well as Lucy Foley. Her thrillers are really well
Oh,
produced. I know it's
ugh,
controversial. I love Lucy Foley just for the production value. She
mm,
writes like locked door thrillers with a massive cast, and there's usually
yeah,
a cast of like 10 or 12 on the audiobook. Also, Lucinda Berry, who
yes.
Deja mentioned earlier, with one of our own, writes really great thrillers, psychological, dark, intense, and I love the way that her audiobooks are done. Although there's one of her narrators, she always voices the most annoying fucking character, and it's because she has the most annoying fucking voice. So it's accurate, like it's well done voice acting, but oh my god, is it annoying. So look out for that, I guess. And then kind of like a general rule for me is that if there's a fluffy rom-com that I want to read, I will always get the audio. I just
Yeah.
love the experience of a fluffy, mindless rom-com on audio rather than a physical book. Now, I'll get into my top 3. If you're going to
Mhm.
listen to any 3 books on audio, I recommend number 1, Good Rich People. Oh my
Oh,
god. That audiobook is so well done. It's not anything special really, like the book is simply just read, but the voice actors are
they ate.
so talented. You can hear the characterization just in the way that they say things, like they do the dialogue. It's
Ooh,
so good. That one stands out to me. My number 2 favorite audiobook is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid.
okay.
It's so haunting, so well done. It's like a trippy horror book. It's one of my favorite horror books of all time, and I listened to it second. So I read the physical book and I knew that it was my favorite, and then I listened to the audiobook and I was like, "Wait. Yeah, this is definitely a favorite of all time, one that I'm gonna be recommending forever because it's just so well done. There's like a whole page that repeats the same line over and over and over, and that's just kind of like a flipper in the physical book, you know? But actually
Mhm.
hearing that read out in the audiobook is incredible, so scary, heightens the horror. My number 1 though, Golden Boy by Abigail Tartland. No one's ever
Golden
heard of this
Boy?
book. No one has read it. It's one of my fucking favorite books ever. It's about an intersex child who is defining their identity and becoming more like gender fluid and all of the family drama that goes on, their struggles finding a place in society, finding friends, finding a partner. It is such a heartbreaking family drama with great queer representation. We don't see a lot of intersex representation, so I
Mhm.
loved it so much. And the audiobook was done so well. Like my heart was in my throat the entire time. Again, the voice acting is just absolutely phenomenal. So there are some that I recommend just because of the production value, and some that just there's a difference when you get a really, really good voice actor or
Mhm.
voice actress.
Okay. Sorry also if you're watching the visual, I literally had to put this blanket on because I kept getting chills from the AC. Um,
We're
so
cozy.
we are cozy. My I don't divide them into categories, but honestly, I'm not like a sci-fi person. Like I don't really read sci-fi. Like I read one or two a year maybe, but I honestly really recommend sci-fi on audio because a lot of times they add sound effects in. So one of the first audiobooks that I ever read and was blown away by was Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. The whole series is so amazing. It's one of my favorite series of all time. It's like a young adult, kind of almost like space opera. I don't wanna call it a space opera, but there's, like, things happening in space, crazy shit going down, and it just has so many, like, sound effects and just a full cast and all these little beep, 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 like, stuff going on, and I'm just like I loved it. Like, I was never like, I never heard an audiobook like that before Illuminae, so they're really, like, the founders, to be honest, of, like, this kind of thing, and another book that does something very similar that's really well loved is Project Hail Mary. I enjoyed this book. You probably heard of it by Andy Weir, but if you haven't listened to the audiobook, you definitely should because one of the characters is literally like a robot almost. So like they are like more like an alien, but like in my head, they sounded like a robot. Like in the audiobook, it sounded very robotic to me. But like that really comes across in the audiobook, and I love that. Then I really also want to recommend Black Girl Call Home. It's a poetry book, which I feel like is another amazing way, like another category of like poetry is a really amazing as an audiobook because
Totally agree.
it's read in such like a way that puts a lot of
Mhm.
emphasis on it. Black Girl Call Home is one of my favorite poetry books that I've ever read. It is about, like, the Black women experience. It talks a lot about pop culture, a lot about modern day issues, and I love it. Also, I really recommend Elizabeth Acevedo. Her work, phenomenal, and I think 3 of them are told in poetry, so they're really good audiobooks. Then I had The Night Swim, but Haley already talked about Miss Megan
Yeah.
Golding, which I feel like is another category, is anything with a podcast element. So I
Yeah.
also recommend A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, one of my faves of all time. I love that book. It's just like a YA thriller, but I remember that's like the last book that I remember like staying up all night and like reading it. Like I remember just I actually didn't read the first book as an audiobook. I read the second one as an audiobook. But I remember like that had me gripped by the neck really in a chokehold. Um and another category, I guess, but I only really have one recommendation for it, is, memoirs. I feel like memoirs are really good audiobooks because they're usually read by the person who wrote the memoir. I'm Glad My Mom Died is a great one by Jeanette McCurdy. I love
I
it.
have another one.
What is it?
Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. That one is
Okay.
so good on audio. I love hearing the author narrate their own story.
Yes, I also really like Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I just didn't put it on the list because I was
Mm.
trying to, like, limit it to 15, but that's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal book. And then my last couple recommendations, I also had Daisy Jones and the Six, but we already talked about that. And
Sick.
then The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. That one, again, it didn't do anything super different or unique like I feel like the other ones I talked about did, but it has the Southern accents. So it's just like it comes across so well of like these Southern moms just like yip yapping away and I loved it. I was like, yeah, like I felt so immersed in that story because of the accents. And then another one, I know you didn't like this book, but the audiobook was really good, and that's Butcher and Blackbird. The audiobook, it has a male and female narrator, and I feel like they talk over each other. Like it feels like more like dynamic conversation in that audiobook than most other audiobooks feel. And the book is really like humorous in nature, like that's what the author was aiming for it to be. So I feel like that also comes across really well in the audiobook because of just like the way that the author or the narrators are playing off of each other. I think they did a really good job. And my last recommendation is for a narrator, and that is Jacoby Diem. Jacoby Diem, he narrates, I think, exclusively romance. And when I tell you his voice is magical, it's just like a warm blanket. And you're just like, okay. And you like really want like this gruff man to just like put you in a chokehold as well. Like, I just love Jacoby.
Ooh.
I love him and everything that he narrates. He narrates, I think, a lot of Alexandria House books, who I really like. He's just a great narrator.
Wow, I didn't have any, like, specific narrators that stood out to me, that's so cool. I'll have
Jacoby
to
Diem is
start
like the
looking
only
out.
one, but I love him.
I need to figure out the name of the girl that I don't like on those
Yeah,
Listen
you
to
do.
Very audio.
Yeah, you do, and avoid her because I think also I don't know about other platforms, but on Audible, I know that you can like click on a narrator and see all the books that they've narrated.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, I feel like that's, like, a good place, like, if other places don't do it, at least looking on Audible to see, like, "Oh, what
Mhm,
has this person also narrated?" if you really like their narrating style.
totally. Well, there's a ton of audio recommendations for you guys, and you know where to get them. So I hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode. Thanks for the gab,
Don't be drab.
and we will see you next time here on Gabbing It Up. Bye.
Bye.